Scuderia Ferrari is competing for the F1 Constructors Championship against McLaren. The competitive setting is Abu Dhabi Marina, where the final round of the 2024 Formula One Championship will take place. The track is unique, featuring various types of corners combined with two high-speed sections separated by a chicane. The track surface is not very abrasive, but high temperatures force teams to manage tires in the third sector. A perfect aero-mechanical compromise will be needed, as always, to deliver the best performance. Ferrari must win and hope for help from the Woking team. Red Bull, however, led by Max Verstappen, could find great performance and join the fight. Mercedes also cannot be ruled out of contention, as despite preferring cooler conditions, the W15 has proven capable of being competitive, especially with George Russell. It will also be Lewis Hamilton's last race with the Brackley team before moving to Ferrari, giving the Briton extra motivation to leave fans with a memorable impression. In short, there are plenty of reasons for an exciting F1 weekend. For the final event of the season, Formula One teams arrive with precise aerodynamic choices aimed at finding a delicate balance between efficiency and handling. These are key elements on a track featuring medium-speed corners and the need for high mechanical grip. Red Bull stands out for testing two different rear wing specifications, as observed in photos taken on Thursday by various journalists in the Marina pit lane. Sergio Perez's car is equipped with the medium-load wing used at the Baku City circuit in Azerbaijan. Its main profile is less pronounced, whereas Max Verstappen's car features the higher-load version previously seen during the season at the British Grand Prix in Silverstone. Both wings include a nolder on the trailing edge. This approach appears to reflect the goal of achieving a clear compromise, a more rearward balance helpful in medium-speed corners while addressing recent issues, such as those encountered in Qatar and Las Vegas. However, increasing rear load to improve balance on the RB20 could compromise top speeds. The optimal choice remains to be seen. Ferrari has chosen a medium-load wing, also used at the Silverstone circuit, aiming to maximize top speeds without sacrificing grip. This approach aligns with last season's strategy. Notably, in 2023, the Italian team adopted a similar approach, as seen today. Nevertheless, the current version of the wing features a more pronounced spoon profile, aiming to exploit an ideal setup window and, consequently, provide the Maranello car with the most stable overall balance possible. Ferrari is seeking a better connection with the front end of its car to deliver a balance that satisfies both drivers. On car number 16, the old floor is currently installed rather than the one introduced in Las Vegas. McLaren also arrives with a dual array of aerodynamic options. The final choice of the historic British team will largely depend on the data collected on track, combined with feedback from the drivers, as the sensitivity of the circuit requires accurate validation of the simulations. One of the available specifications is the Barcelona version, featuring a very pronounced spoon profile and higher downforce, while the other, introduced in Austin, generates medium downforce. The challenge will be to find the balance that best suits the drivers. This is undoubtedly a crucial move to prepare as effectively as possible for the final championship challenge and tackle the medium-speed corners efficiently. Abu Dhabi is a track that is particularly sensitive to efficiency. The team will test two specifications, as the optimal downforce level cannot ideally be achieved with either wing alone. Consequently, the engineers must be very shrewd in determining which of the two versions will better suit the MCL38, then complete the setup by appropriately adjusting the ride heights and beam wing angles. Finally, Mercedes relies on a medium-load spoon wing. This is also a version already tested successfully in Canada, Barcelona, and Austria. A configuration that has demonstrated good balance and could provide a potential advantage in a context where finding the optimal setup will be quite beneficial for delivering a convincing performance. The choice of configurations by the various F1 teams highlights a balance between conservative and experimental approaches, all aimed at maximizing the potential of their cars in a decisive weekend. In terms of performance, Ferrari has experienced varying fortunes this season. During the critical period from the Spanish Grand Prix at the Circuit de Catalunya in Barcelona to the initial progress in the Dutch Grand Prix at the Zandvoort circuit, the Maranello team averaged a gap of 0.3 from the top. McLaren had already established itself as the fastest car, with an average lap time of 1.24.986 compared to Ferrari's 1.25.140. Starting from Monza, Ferrari's adjustments began to pay off, bringing its performance level on par with McLaren, which had, despite errors, solidified its strength and overtaken Red Bull. The exception was the drop in Singapore, where the weekend started poorly for Ferrari. Nevertheless, the average gap was reduced by over 70%, with Ferrari achieving an average lap time of 1.33.120 compared to McLaren's 1.32.988. Meanwhile, growing difficulties for Red Bull and Mercedes were evident in their larger deficits, although both teams managed to win races against expectations. In Las Vegas, Ferrari introduced an experimental floor, not aimed at enhancing the SF24's performance, but solely for correlation purposes, following the widening of the front section in the wind tunnel. The edge of the floor was completely redesigned to correlate the airflow from the front tires with the downstream flow of the car. While it did not directly increase the car's speed, since the standard floor is very effective in slow corners, it provided some benefits in high-speed corners in terms of drivability, which both drivers appreciated. This opened up the possibility of using it in Qatar. Carlos Sainz reported increased confidence in the car, and the data showed that while the overall downforce remained the same, the way the floor generated it and reached its peak had changed. This translated into greater confidence, particularly in high-speed corners above 200 km per hour, which were minimal in the Las Vegas Grand Prix and not critical for performance but dominant at Lusail. As a result, Ferrari chose to equip Charles Leclerc's SF24 with the floor, testing and confirming the findings from the United States, using it throughout the weekend with calculated risks. But it is worth pointing out that Ferrari has completed its update program with no possibility of having another experimental floor available. In Abu Dhabi, the experimental floor will again be available but without a second spare. This is a significant risk at the Emirati circuit, which has more critical areas in terms of runoffs. Additionally, only Turn 3 is very fast, contrasting with a range of sharp, slower corners. Engineers believe the standard SF24 should still be competitive on straights and in medium, slow, short radius corners, except for Turn 5 and Turn 10, which are wider. Considering these factors, Ferrari's decision remains open to discussion. It would not be surprising if the Maranello team's engineers and technicians decided not to use the special floor, eliminating risks in Parc Fermé. Given the tight battle with McLaren for the F1 Constructors Championship heading into finale round of the 2024 Formula One season, as Ferrari team principal Frédéric Vasseur reiterates, a flawless execution of the weekend is once again required for the Italian side at the 5.281-kilometer Yas Marina circuit on Yas Island. Taking risks is essential, but unlike Qatar, this moment also demands great caution in order to avoid regrets for the outcome of the F1 title fight.